what kind of leverage does the United States have? And Secretary, I want to refer back to what President Trump sent out back in February at the beginning of his second term, and that is the America First investment policy, which I have in my hand right now. And the America First investment policy reads this: economic security is national security. The PRC, the Chinese government, does not allow the United States companies to take over their critical infrastructure, and the U.S. should not allow the PRC to take over U.S. critical infrastructure. They also go on to say, through China's military-civil fusion strategy, the PRC increases the size of its military-industrial complex by compelling civilian Chinese companies and research institutions to support its military and intelligence activity. Some of those companies that do that trade on our exchanges. You have a huge lever to pull right here to take off those Chinese companies from our exchanges and not give them the ability to sell their shares to perhaps, in some cases, unwitting investors. Will you pull that economic lever?
Maria, I can tell you, everything's on the everything's on the table. I am optimistic that this can be de-escalated, but we're willing to do whatever it takes and to adopt whatever posture it takes. And again, this is a global problem, and I think our global allies will follow us on this. We back in the summer, early summer, we were forced to put 12 countermeasures on China that were highly affected from natural resources that are used in the making of plastics to jet engines and parts. I believe that they substantially had to ground a large part of their civilian fleet. So we have plenty of straight brute force countermeasures that we can pull. We have 300, 400,000 Chinese students studying here, as opposed to 800,000 American students, as opposed to 800 American students who study in China. So, that's substantially imbalanced. Again, so lines of communication have been opened. I expect that during IMF World Bank Week, we will have meetings. I hope to meet with my Chinese counterpart, the Vice Premier, in Asia before the two leaders meet. But the U.S. will not be deterred here. And as I said, this is China versus the world. And Chinese have a different business model than we do, but there is no business model that shows it is a good idea to harm your customers. China is the largest exporter in the world, and they are dependent on trade. We do not want to decouple. We want to de-risk. And this de-risking, the critical minerals is part of it, semiconductor independence is part of it, bringing our pharmaceutical industry back on shore, and everything that President Trump has done with the America First agenda. So, we don't want to decouple, but China, when they send out messages like this, this is a decoupling message.